Don't spend that dime just yet. It could be worth a fortune. Some Roosevelt and Mercury dimes with rare dates, mint marks, and minting errors are selling for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. That tiny 10-cent coin in your pocket might actually be a hidden treasure. Always check your dimes before you spend them. The 1980 Roosevelt dime might appear as nothing more than a small and ordinary coin, one that most people have passed through their hands thousands of times without a second thought. Yet in the vast world of coin collecting, this dime is remembered for its surprising errors and rare varieties that have transformed an everyday 10-cent piece into a highly valuable collectible. While the majority of 1980 dimes are still worth just their face value, a handful of error coins from this year have been auctioned for staggering prices, in some cases well over thousands of dollars, making them treasures to be admired and sought after. To understand the significance of the 1980 dime, it's important to know where the series itself comes from. The Roosevelt dime was introduced in 1946 to honor Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, who passed away in 1945. His leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, along with his connection to the March of Dimes polio campaign, made him a fitting choice for the dime. Designed by John R. Sinek, the obverse features Roosevelt's profile with the inscriptions Liberty, In God We Trust, the date, and the mint mark, while the reverse carries a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. BY 1980. The U.S. Mint was producing billions of dimes each year, and the coins were struck in a copper-nickel-clad composition, a change that had been introduced in 1965 after rising silver prices forced silver out of circulating coinage. Most of these dimes slipped into circulation unnoticed, but like in many other years, a few errors and rare minting mishaps elevated certain coins far above their peers. For collectors, it is these unexpected treasures that keep the search alive. One of the most famous and desirable errors from the 1980 dime is the missing mint mark error. This error is particularly fascinating because it recalls some of the most legendary modern U.S. coin errors, like the 1982 No P dime. In 1980, dimes struck at the Philadelphia Mint began carrying a P mint mark for the first time. This marked an important change in coinage history because prior to 1980, Philadelphia had never placed its mint mark on circulating dimes. Collectors immediately noted the addition of the P. But along with this new practice came the possibility for mistakes. Occasionally, a dime would be struck without the mint mark, creating a rare collectible. While far scarcer in 1980 than in 1982, examples of 1980 dimes without the P have been reported. These are incredibly sought after because they represent the very beginning of Philadelphia's use of the P mint mark on the dime. Depending on condition, a missing mint mark 1980 dime can bring hundreds or even thousands of dollars, particularly when graded and authenticated by a major grading service like PCGS or NGC. Other errors from the 1980 Roosevelt dime include off-center strikes. These occur when a coin is struck while improperly aligned in the press, leaving part of the design missing. A 1980 dime struck 50% off-center, with the date still visible, is highly collectible and can sell for $200 or more. Dramatic examples showing blank planchet space are the most desirable. Broad strike errors are another collectible type. These occur when a dime is struck without the retaining collar, causing the coin to expand outward beyond its normal diameter. While still carrying the full design, these coins look stretched and unusual, making them a favorite among error collectors. A 1980 dime broad strike might fetch $40 to $100 depending on condition. Clipped planchets are also possible. This error occurs when the blank metal strip from which planchets are punched overlaps incorrectly, cutting out a crescent-shaped piece. A dime with a clean clipped planchet error is not only visually striking but also historically interesting. Values range from $30 for minor clips to over $200 for large or dramatic clips, especially when the date is visible. Transitional planchet errors are exceedingly rare, but always possible. If a 1980 dime were struck accidentally on a leftover silver planchet from earlier years, it would be one of the greatest finds in modern U.S. coinage. Though none are widely documented for 1980, collectors always dream of such discoveries. More commonly, wrong planchet errors exist, such as a dime struck on a foreign planchet or even a cent planchet. These pieces, when authenticated, can sell for thousands. Another category that brings attention to the 1980 dime is die varieties, particularly doubled dies. While the 1980 dimes don't feature the dramatic doubled dies of earlier Lincoln cents, some minor doubling varieties exist, particularly on the inscriptions or the date. Collectors love doubled dies because they clearly show mistakes in the hubbing process when the die itself was manufactured. Even minor doubled dies can bring premiums of $20 to $100, while dramatic, eye-catching doubling can command much higher prices. Auction results bring these error stories to life. For instance, a high-grade 1980 dime with an off-center strike sold for nearly $300, while another broad-strike example brought in $150. A spectacular missing mint mark proof-like coin shocked collectors when it sold for well over $1,000. And in the world of high-grade registry collecting, a 1980 dime graded MS-68 by PCGS sold for nearly $1,000 simply because of its condition, even without any error at all. This shows how demand is not only for errors, but also for perfection in modern coinage. When it comes to the missing mint mark 1980 dimes, some collectors compare their importance to the legendary 1982 No-P dime, which remains one of the most famous modern error coins. While the 1982 example is far more widely recognized, the 1980 version holds a special place as the very first year that Philadelphia placed its P on the dime, making a missing mint mark from that year particularly symbolic and desirable. The appeal of the 1980 dime also lies in the fact that most people don't even think to check their pocket change for errors. Countless dimes pass through cash registers, coin jars, and bank rolls every single day, and very few people stop to examine them closely. That means the chance of finding a valuable error coin is real for anyone willing to take the time. Imagine the thrill of pulling a dime from your change only to discover that it's worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. Stories of people doing just that continue to inspire collectors to this day. The broader context of the Roosevelt dime series also adds depth to the 1980 issue. By the 1980s, America was long past the silver era of coinage, and the dime was struck in copper-nickel clad for everyday use. Many collectors overlook clad coins, considering them too modern or too common. Yet errors like those from 1980 prove that even modern clad dimes can be rare and valuable. This realization has brought new life and interest to the Roosevelt dime series, particularly among collectors who appreciate the hunt for hidden treasures in seemingly ordinary coins. As with all coins, condition plays a major role in value. A circulated 1980 dime with a minor error might sell for $20 to $50, but the same coin in mint state condition could be worth several times that. Proof-like errors or coins with extraordinary eye appeal such as rainbow toning can bring even higher premiums. The top populations, those few coins graded MS-67 or MS-68, are always in demand by registry set collectors, driving prices higher at auction.so. What is the ultimate lesson of the 1980 dime? It is that no coin is too common to ignore. Even a coin produced in the billions can hide treasures, whether it's a missing mint mark, a dramatic off-center strike, a clipped planchet, or a doubled die. For the careful collector, each dime holds potential. The 1980 dime is not just a piece of pocket change. It's a reminder that the world of numismatics is full of surprises. A dime that was meant to be ordinary can, through an error at the mint, become a rare and highly valuable piece of history. Auction results of $500, $1,000, or even more prove that these little mistakes carry enormous weight in the collecting community. So the next time you hold a 1980 Roosevelt dime, don't just drop it into a jar or spend it without a glance. Look closely at the date. Check for that mint mark. Study the edges. Because one small detail could mean the difference between a coin worth 10 cents and a coin worth thousands. And that's the enduring magic of the 1980 dime. Proof that sometimes, the tiniest coin can hold the biggest surprise. The 2003 Roosevelt 1 dime may seem like just another small coin that slips through your hands without a second thought. A piece of change that barely buys anything today. But for coin collectors, historians, and error hunters, the 2003 dime is far more than just a simple 10-cent piece. Hidden among the billions produced by the United States Mint in that year are rare errors and varieties that elevate this everyday coin into a treasure that can sell for hundreds, thousands, and even tens of thousands of dollars when the right example appears at auction. These mistakes are the kind of discoveries that keep collectors eagerly searching bank rolls, jars of change, and old coin collections, knowing that one lucky find could turn 10 cents into a life-changing payday. To fully appreciate the story of the 2003 dime, we need to first step back and understand the coin itself. The Roosevelt dime has been in circulation since 1946, introduced to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt after his death in 1945. Designed by John R. Sinek, the coin features Roosevelt's left-facing profile on the obverse, with the inscriptions Liberty, In God We Trust, the date, and the mint mark. The reverse carries a torch, flanked by an olive branch symbolizing peace and an oak branch symbolizing strength, along with the inscriptions United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, and one dime. This design has remained unchanged for decades, making it one of the longest-running designs in U.S. coinage history. By 2003, the dime had already become an essential part of everyday transactions, though its purchasing power had diminished dramatically since its introduction. The mint produced billions of Roosevelt dimes at both the Philadelphia and Denver facilities that year, and nearly all of them are worth only face value. But as every seasoned collector knows, the mint is not immune to mistakes. And it is those mistakes that transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. One of the most exciting errors found in 2003 dimes are off-center strikes. These happen when the planchet is not properly aligned between the dies during striking. Instead of the design appearing neatly centered, part of it is missing, leaving a blank crescent on the coin. Slight off-center strikes are fairly common, but dramatic ones where 40% or more of the design is missing are much scarcer and far more valuable. The key is whether the date is still visible. Collectors pay big premiums for coins that retain the full date despite the error. A 2003 dime struck 50% off-center with the date intact could easily sell for $300 to $500, and more extreme examples have been known to fetch higher sums. Another highly collectible error is the doubled die. This occurs when the die itself is improperly hubbed, resulting in doubling of the design elements that is then struck onto every coin made from that die. While the most famous double dies are from earlier years like the 1955 and 1972 Lincoln cents, double dies can occur on any denomination and in any year. Some 2003 dimes exhibit minor doubling on the inscriptions, particularly Liberty and In God We Trust. These smaller double dies often sell for $25 to $100, depending on grade. If a major double die variety were discovered with dramatic doubling visible to the naked eye, it could easily command thousands because collectors prize strong, bold doubling that stands out from the normal strike. Clipped planchets are another error type from 2003 dimes that draw interest. When the mint cuts blank planchets from large strips of metal, sometimes the punches overlap too closely or misalign, resulting in coins missing a portion of their edge. These appear as crescent-shaped cuts and are instantly recognizable. Minor clips might only add $10 or $20 in value, but larger or multiple clips can sell for $50, $100, or more. Collectors especially love coins that combine a clipped planchet with other errors, such as off-center strikes, because these double errors are much scarcer. Then there are the most dramatic and valuable errors of all, wrong planchet strikes. This is when a coin is struck on a blank intended for a different denomination or even a foreign coin. For example, a 2003 dime struck on a cent planchet would be copper-colored and smaller in size, immediately standing out as unusual. Other possibilities include a dime struck on a nickel planchet, or even on a blank meant for a foreign coin, as the U.S. Mint has produced coins for other countries throughout history. These types of errors are incredibly rare and highly sought after. At auction, a 2003 dime struck on the wrong planchet could bring thousands of dollars. One similar example from another year sold for more than $10,000 because of its rarity and uniqueness. Die cracks, die chips, and cuds also appear on 2003 dimes. These occur when the dies used to strike coins begin to wear out or break. A small die crack may only add a few dollars in value, but a large cud, a raised blob of metal where a piece of the die broke away, can make a coin worth $100 to $300 or more. Collectors often enjoy these types of errors because they are essentially unique. Each cud has its own shape and size, making it a one-of-a-kind minting accident. But perhaps the most important factor in determining value is condition. Like all coins, 2003 error dimes are far more valuable in high grades. Coins graded mint state, MS, by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, especially those with brilliant luster and minimal marks, can sell for many times the value of circulated examples. For instance, an ordinary off-center 2003 dime might sell for $75 in circulated condition, but in MS65 or higher, it could bring $300 or more. Combine a dramatic error with top condition and you have the recipe for auction records. Speaking of auctions, real-world sales demonstrate just how valuable these coins can be. Error collectors are always watching for dramatic 2003 dimes to appear at heritage auctions, Stax Bowers, or other major sales. One particularly striking example of a 2003 dime struck on a foreign planchet sold for over $5,000, drawing intense bidding because of its rarity. Another off-center strike with the date visible in mint state condition brought close to $400. These examples show how collectors are willing to pay big premiums for coins that combine rarity, condition, and visual appeal. Part of the fascination with the 2003 dime is how it represents the unpredictability of minting. Despite advanced technology and quality control measures, mistakes still slip through. And when they do, they become prized collectibles that tell the story of how coins are made and how even the smallest error can create something extraordinary. This unpredictability fuels the thrill of the hunt for collectors. Imagine finding a 2003 dime in your change and realizing it's worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. It's that possibility that keeps people searching. The market for error coins has been especially strong in recent years, as more people learn about their potential value. Social media and news stories often highlight examples of rare coins found in circulation, sparking renewed interest in everyday change. When people hear that a dime from 2003 could be worth $1,000 or more because of a minting mistake, they're inspired to check every coin they come across. This widespread interest only strengthens demand, which in turn drives prices higher when rare errors appear at auction. For serious collectors, the 2003 dime offers an exciting challenge. They know that while billions of normal dimes were minted, only a tiny fraction carry the mistakes that make them valuable. Building a collection of 2003 error dimes could include off-center strikes, clipped planchets, double dies, die breaks, and wrong planchet errors. Each type tells a different story about the minting process and highlights a different kind of mistake. Together, they paint a vivid picture of how even in the modern era of coin production, perfection is impossible. And sometimes imperfection is what creates true beauty and value. So, the next time you come across a 2003 dime, don't just toss it aside or spend it without a second thought. Look closely at the date, the lettering, the edges, and the overall shape. Is the design off-center? Is there a missing piece from the planchet? Do the letters or numbers look doubled? Is the coin smaller or larger than usual or the wrong color? Any of these signs could mean you're holding a valuable mint error. The story of the 2003 dime reminds us that the coins we carry every day are more than just money. They are little pieces of history, shaped by art, technology, and sometimes by accident. They show us that even in something as small as a dime, there is room for wonder, mystery, and discovery. And who knows? That 10-cent coin in your pocket might just be worth far more than you ever imagined. The 2021 one-dime coin might seem like one of the most ordinary coins in circulation today. With billions of them produced at the United States Mint and used in everyday transactions, most people wouldn't give it a second glance. It slips through cash registers, laundromats, vending machines, and pocket change unnoticed. But what makes the 2021 Roosevelt dime so fascinating to collectors is that despite the highly advanced technology used in minting modern coins, errors still occurred. These errors transformed some ordinary 10-cent pieces into valuable collectibles worth hundreds, thousands, and in certain cases, even tens of thousands of dollars when sold at major auctions. The idea that a dime struck just a few years ago could command such high prices sparks curiosity and excitement among collectors, treasure hunters, and everyday people alike. To understand why 2021 dimes hold such potential, we first need to appreciate their context. The Roosevelt dime has been in circulation since 1946, honoring President Franklin D. Roosevelt after his death. Designed by John R. Sinek, it features Roosevelt's portrait on the obverse with the inscriptions Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date. On the reverse, it displays a torch symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch for peace and an oak branch for strength. For decades, this design has remained virtually unchanged, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. BY 2021. The U.S. Mint was striking billions of coins annually across its facilities in Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco, and West Point. Precision machinery was in place to ensure accuracy, but even in such an advanced environment, errors slipped through. These errors created the very collectibles that today sell for astonishing amounts. What's remarkable about 2021 is that error coins discovered from this year not only display striking visuals, but also hold incredible auction value. One of the most notable 2021 dime errors involves off-center strikes. This happens when the blank planchet is not properly aligned within the striking press, causing the design to be shifted away from the center. A slight misalignment may look quirky but isn't particularly valuable, while dramatic off-center strikes where a large portion of the design is missing can command big money, especially if the date is still visible. A 2021 dime struck 50% off-center has already been valued in the $500 to $1,200 range depending on condition. The more dramatic the misalignment, the more a collector is willing to pay. Another error that gained attention in 2021 dimes is the broad strike. A broad strike occurs when the collar, which normally keeps the coin's shape intact, is absent during the striking process. This produces a dime that looks stretched, wider, and without the usual reeded edge. To a collector, a broad strike 2021 dime in mint condition is a real catch. Examples of these coins have reached over $1,000 at auction when they retain a bright luster and minimal wear. Clipped planchets are another exciting variety for this year. A clipped planchet occurs when a blank coin flan is cut improperly from the metal sheet, leaving part of the coin missing, often in a crescent shape. A 2021 dime with a clean, visible clip can be worth $300 to $600 depending on grade, and dramatic multiple clips increase the value significantly. Some rare double-clip 2021 dimes have appeared, instantly drawing competitive bids at auctions. Perhaps the most dramatic errors from 2021 Roosevelt dimes involve wrong planchet strikes. Imagine a dime struck not on its proper copper-nickel planchet but on a smaller or larger blank meant for another denomination. These are rare but extremely valuable. A known example of a 2021 dime struck on a cent planchet fetched close to $4,000 at a major auction. These errors are not only eye-catching due to their unusual size and color but also highly prized for their rarity. Then we arrive at the double die varieties, which are always highly desirable. A double die happens during the creation of the coin die itself when it receives multiple misaligned impressions. On the 2021 dime, reports of doubling can be seen most clearly in the inscriptions, particularly Liberty and parts of In God We Trust. While not as dramatic as classic double dies like the 1955 Lincoln cent, they are still important and can command premiums. Strong examples of the 2021 double die dimes in uncirculated condition have sold for upwards of $800 to $200. All of these errors highlight one essential truth: collectors crave uniqueness. Billions of 2021 dimes were struck, but only a handful contain these fascinating mistakes. It is that combination of rarity and visibility that drives values into the thousands. For example, in 2022, a broad strike 2021 dime graded MS67 by PCGS sold for over $2,500, stunning even seasoned collectors. Around the same time, an off-center strike example in similar high grade brought in nearly $3,000 at auction. But the most dramatic story involved a 2021 dime struck on a foreign planchet that sold for over $6,500, an extraordinary amount for such a modern coin. This kind of auction buzz creates excitement in the collecting community. People rush to search through their change, coin rolls, and even bank boxes hoping to uncover a 2021 dime error. The dream of turning a 10-cent coin into thousands of dollars is irresistible, and history shows it's possible. Everyday people with no numismatic background have found error coins in circulation, only to discover later that they had struck gold. The key to making these discoveries is knowledge. Collectors advise anyone searching for 2021 dimes to look closely at the lettering, the rims, and the overall shape of the coin. A magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe can reveal doubling in inscriptions or faint off-center designs. Even subtle errors can be worth keeping because as time passes and fewer pristine examples are available, Their value only grows. One of the most thrilling parts of the story is how quickly values have risen. Just a few years ago, the idea of a modern dime being worth thousands might have seemed far-fetched. But the auction results prove otherwise. The demand for error coins is strong, and when you combine that with a modern date like 2021, collectors are especially eager to own them. They know these are coins from their lifetime, coins they could have handled themselves, and that makes the connection personal. Imagine holding a dime you pulled from change at a coffee shop, only to later learn it's worth $5,000 or more. That's the magic of error coins like those from 2021. They're reminders that even in today's high-tech minting world, imperfection still slips through, and those imperfections are what turn everyday coins into treasures. So, the next time you see a 2021 dime, don't dismiss it as just another common coin. Hold it up to the light. Study the date, the lettering, the edges. Look for anything unusual. Doubling, off-centering, odd shapes, missing parts, or strange colors. Because one of those little dimes could very well be hiding a mistake worth thousands of dollars. Auction records already show these coins reaching jaw-dropping prices, from $2,500 broad strikes to $6,500 wrong planchet strikes. And as time goes on, these values could only increase as collectors scramble to secure rare examples. That's why every 2021 dime is worth a closer look. It might not just be worth 10 cents, but a small fortune waiting in disguise.